peppers. I'm here representing the Myriad Gardens in Scissortail Park on a new project that we have going on. It's our garden in place seed kits that we've prepared to share with the community. So I'm just going to walk through how you're going to put together the springtime seed paper kit. All right, so in your bag, you are gonna have some different items. One thing that you definitely wanna make sure that you check out is the bookmark that's gonna be in there. It's gonna have a QR code and a link that'll take you to instructional videos like this, as well as some written instructions that you can look through to know how to put your seed kit together. So it looks like you found the video. We also have in our springtime seed paper kit, you're gonna have one Easter egg, and inside of it is gonna be the seed paper. We have a green paper that's going to be a beneficial bug blend. We have the yellow paper, and that is going to be Southwest Pollinator blend. And then the red paper is going to be Monarch Butterfly blend. So these different papers will attract, they have seeds in them to attract those different wonderful insects for your garden. You're going to have 3 peat pots. So these are really great because they're biodegradable, which means that as you transplant your seed, you don't actually have to remove them from this pot. You also have a bag of soil that you're going to use to plant up the seed paper. And you're going to have some popsicle sticks. These are going to be your seed labels, so you know which pot has which seed paper in it. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to write on your popsicle sticks which different things you're planting, so you can coordinate it with which ones you're potting it up in. So on your popsicle stick, you're going to want to remember that when you put it in your pot, you're only going to be able to see one part of it. So you want to make sure that you write the label on just the upper side. It's also really important to write your labels using a Sharpie or a pen that's not going to bleed, because as you water your plant, you don't want your labels to start dripping and then you know, oh no, I don't know which pot is which. So I'm going to write down on these. So I'll do our green paper, which is our beneficial bug blend. So I'm going to write beneficial bug blend. And then I'm going to write the date on the other side so I can still read that, so I know when I got these started. All right, so I've written all 3 of my labels now. So the next thing you're going to want to do is we're going to actually start to pot it up. So we have our peat pots here and our soil. And what I'm going to do is you're going to want to fill up the peat pot about 2/3 of the way. So I'm going to pull this in. All right, it's about 2/3 of the way there. And actually, what we recommend as you're potting this up is even though we don't have any seeds in here yet, we're gonna actually wanna get this soil wet first. That's gonna make sure that if you went to water it at the end, the water might just pour all the way through, or it might just kind of puddle on the top and not actually get into all the little soil pieces. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna actually pour some water in here and kind of mix it around to make sure my soil is moist to get that seed started.
So I'm going to just pour a little bit of water, mix that around so that your soil starts to get wet, moist. Add a little bit more. There we go. All right, that just gave our soil a little bit more moisture. Then what we're going to do is you're going to take your seed paper and you are going to stick in the right label so that we know this is our beneficial bug blend. So I'm going to take my green paper. Your paper might be larger, so it's nice because you can actually pot up a couple of these if you have the supplies. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out a piece like this so I can lay that down there on top of my soil, just like that. And then you're gonna wanna cover the soil with about 1/8 of an inch of soil on top of that. So I'm gonna add another little bit of soil. There we just so you cover your seed paper up. Then I'm gonna very carefully add just a little bit of water here. Here we go. And again, try to get that water in that soil there. All right, so that is our first seed paper that is potted up. For the two other seed papers that you have, so again, you're gonna fill up your soil about 2/3 of the way. Gonna add some of that water, mix that around. It's okay if you get some water or dirt that's spilling out. This is gonna be a little bit of a mess, but that's part of the fun. So the next one here, I have my Southwest Pollinator blend. So that's going to be my yellow. So again, I'm going to cut that. And you should be able to see the seeds in the paper. These seed papers were handmade back in February by some wonderful volunteers in the community and some of our Hort staff and public event staff. So we are excited to get to use these and have you guys use them. So again, you're going to cover up that seed paper. Some soil, pour that water in there. Now, a couple tips and tricks. We provided all the supplies that I've talked through right here. Now, one suggestion we do have is when you are starting seeds, you can use different plastic coverings on top of your pots. That does help keep in moisture and help keep in heat. And those are two things that seeds really do need to germinate. If you don't have that, it's okay. You're just gonna wanna make sure that you keep the soil moist and keep it in a nice sunny spot. So a couple ideas for plastic coverings. If you have a larger tray for like a takeout container, you can clean that out and then recycle that to use. So if you have yours here, you can do is actually even put this on side. What would be nice is if you had a lower one that you could kind of encapsulate it all together just like a little greenhouse. The other option is you can use other little plastic cups or containers to put over the top just like this. And that provides a little greenhouse. So there's a couple different cup sizes that can work with whatever peat pot size you have. So you guys can experiment with that. So again, you're gonna wanna make sure that you put these in a nice sunny window because like I said, to germinate seeds, they do need that heat and that sun. Once you start to see the plant come up, the leaves start to grow on here, you do want to remove that plastic covering because it will need space to start to grow and it doesn't need as much of that heat and moisture as it does for the seedlings. So as your plants start to grow, you are going to notice that the first two, what look like leaves that come out, are actually what we call cotyledons. So I have an example, a plant over here. This is a pepper plant, and you can see down here on the bottom, this is actually the cotyledon that's still attached. So that's actually not a true leaf. What comes up after the cotyledon, so your first two ones that look like leaves, those are the cotyledons, and then you actually get your real two set of leaves. So you're gonna wanna make sure you look for those set of leaves to know when you can transplant. So after you see about 1 or 2 sets of leaves, so 1, 2, 3, 4, that would be 2 sets, that's when you can start thinking about transplanting your plant. You also might notice that the cotyledon, it does kind of yellow and fall off. You can see one here that did fall off. That's okay. That does not mean that anything's wrong with your plant. That should happen. In terms of watering these plants as they're growing, as the seeds are germinating, you want to be careful as you pour water on top of it. You want to make sure you don't like flush any of the seeds out or move them around. With the seed paper, what's nice is it keeps it really all together, so you shouldn't have that issue here. One suggestion though you can do, if you have a little bit more patience and time, is you can use a tray like this, or a plate or a dish, and actually put your peat pots in here and put water down in the bottom. And what will happen is the peat pots in the soil will soak up that water. So you can leave it in there for about 10 minutes till you see that it's really soaked up a good amount of water. That just really helps, like I said, to not disturb the seeds or the plants that are growing up on the top.
And then especially as you continue watering, when you have leaves and your plants start to look like something that looks a little bit more like a plant, it's not just an empty container, you really want to be careful when you're watering. You don't want to be watering on the leaves. The leaves aren't actually what's soaking up the water, it's the roots that soak up the water. So you want to make sure that you're watering right in here by the base so that those roots are getting all that water and we're not messing with the leaves. So for a more specific list of all the seeds that are in your seed paper, check out the online website. There's a PDF list that'll show you what plants are in the 3 different blends of seed paper that are in your Easter egg kit. We're gonna do some other kits like this, so keep an eye out for those on our social media, when you can pick those up and how you can do that. Definitely keep us updated. So post on social media, tell us about how they're growing. We definitely want to see how they're doing. A big thank you to our sponsors who made these kits possible, Tinker Credit Federal Union and Gray Blodgett and Associates. So thank you so much to both of them for providing this for the community. Again, this is a joint effort between Myriad Gardens and Scissortail Park. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.